Let me give you an example. Say you're a female mentor and you want to teach your little third grader how to bake cookies. Now, to you, that's just something to do. But I'm here to tell you that that hits on about 3 different assets on the internal and external asset list. That has to do with competencies, it has to do with following instructions, it has to do with resourcefulness. You can take her shopping and go and get the ingredients so you can do some price comparing and talk through that process. It teaches time management. Obviously, the exercise of baking involves time management. So right there, you've impacted, let's say, 5 assets. If you were to look at the research, you would see that moving a child from having 14 assets in their life to 19 assets moves them significantly away from the at-risk category. The research is just stunning on this. I want to encourage you to go to our website, brookingsyouthmentoring.com, because on that website there's an entire in-service dedicated to this idea of building assets as a mentor. And I can't tell you how strongly enough how if you focus your energies on simply asset improvement in this child's life, you have done your job as a mentor. Every time you spend time on one of these asset areas, you put one more building block in place for your mentee. The other wonderful thing about asset building as a mentor is it turns your focus away from what you want the child or the young adult to stop doing, and it turns your focus into what you would like them to start doing. Obviously, that focus, that positive focus, that future focus, that upward focus of their energy is much more productive than the don'ts and the shoulds that they're hearing almost constantly around them from other sources. And so you want to be that voice to say, let's do this, and in the process, let's learn this. I alluded earlier in training to this idea of going to a castaway shop, or even just touring cast-off furniture and picking up a piece of furniture and refinishing it. I know one mentor whose first entire appointment with his little guy was spent on learning how to use his duck calls. This seems like such an insignificant thing, but that little fellow really feels competent now in that one area, and it's turned out to be a meaningful friendship. It's ongoing to 2 years now. So you want to be aware of this asset building concept. I'd love to go more in detail on it, but frankly there are hours and hours of training on this out there that I can't really accomplish now. Do go to the website, do check out the in-service. I want to also encourage you to go to the Search Institute website. On that website, and you'll have this in your resource pages, there are actually age-appropriate asset building activities. One of the pieces of feedback that I get continually from mentors is they want more ideas of things to do. Well, if you go to the Search Institute website and you go to the age of your child, to the link that talks about asset building activities for that age group, you've got your curriculum for the next year. So this takes a lot of pressure off of you, but it also gives us a sense that we're on the same page and the momentum is positive and forward and going to be productive. So obviously this is something I encourage you to do. As I said, many mentors have come to us and asked for a lot more suggestions on things to do. In this area of the country, and particularly in the winter, it can get very challenging as to how to spend your time together. An hour a week doesn't sound like a lot on paper, but when you actually go to those appointments, sometimes you can feel like you're running a little dry on activity ideas. So I'm going to just run through, we're going to do a little lap around the track here, and I'm going to run through some ideas of how you can come up with significant activities that you'll enjoy with your kiddo. First of all, general suggestions. Take them to where you work. Take them to campus. Take them to the things that you do for leisure. I have one mentor who took his little guy camping with his buddies, and it was the most incredible experience. In fact, they're still together after 2 or 3 years. So just if you take them with, the take-with principle. If you have a concern about whether or not you have time to mentor, one of the suggestions that I make to you is don't necessarily add an activity to your life. Simply unfold the mentee into the activities that you do. Do you go to Walmart? Take them to Walmart. Do you go camping with buddies? Take them camping. If you play disc golf, take them playing disc golf. In other words, you don't add an hour to your schedule. You simply identify that hour in your schedule where it would be appropriate to have your mentee with you. It exposes them to all kinds of things that you're doing, and they'll enjoy it. The next thing, of course, I encourage you to do is just talk. Talk, visit. You know, if you're a person who isn't necessarily an extroverted person, I'd save up some of that talking energy for your time with your mentee. Asking great questions is another way. We've given you all kinds of resources in the appendices on how to ask great questions. Focus and concentrate that skill. By the way, that's a life skill that you'll take into adulthood. It's an important one to learn. Attend recreational or cultural activities. This is something that I'm going to develop a little bit more later, but I can tell you that many mentees from our program go on to participate in extracurricular activities at the high school level because they have attended high school activities with their mentor as a younger person. This is not insignificant. One of the pieces of research that I came across in looking through this material is a memo that came out at the 29th Annual National High School Activities Week. And in this memo, it sort of does a top 10 list, you know, a la David Letterman. But it says the top 10 reasons for participating in activities. And they list all kinds of reasons why children should participate in extracurricular activities. On here are things like higher GPAs, higher educational goals. But I want to read to you the top 3. Number 3 from the bottom. Participants have better attendance records at schools. Participants have lower dropout rates. And the number 1 reason to participate in activities, participation in activities is a valid predictor of adult success in career and community. Now I ask you, as a mentor, are we not about becoming adult success stories for our mentees in careers and community? What I'm telling you is because the Brookings High School waves mentors through, if you're with your mentee, you can go to any activity at Brookings High School, including the football games on campus, for free, simply because you're attending with your mentee. What happens, and this is not rocket science, what happens is that that youth then says, oh, marching band looks like fun. They look like they're having fun on the field at halftime, or football looks like fun, or that play looked like a lot of fun. I think maybe that's what I'll do when I get to high school. You have just put a major building block in the life of that child by giving them something to aspire to. I recently went to a concert at the high school. My daughter was participating. It was a fun concert. It was a pops concert, kind of a rock thing. And there were 7 mentees, former mentees, on stage at one time or another in the program. And I have to tell you, it was all I could do to hold back, because I know that that is a valid predictor then that they're going to go on to be contributing adults in this community or any other community. And I have to tell you, it was a very gratifying moment. How about if they mentioned to you that they'd love to develop a hobby? Oh, I wish I could skateboard. Well, maybe you don't skateboard, but maybe you have a buddy that does. So you hook this little guy up with your buddy and you say, can we spend a half hour teaching him some basic skills? That kind of thing. Everybody benefits in a situation like that. And the last, maybe most critical suggestion that I want to make as a general activity recommendation, if they are in an activity, go. If they're doing something for their school, elementary school choirs, yes, the concerts, you know, they're numerous, and often they're just so much fun to watch. But I have had the experience of sitting in the audience, and at the end of a particular segment of the population performing, they come down into the audience and sit with mom and dad. And then there's a little cadre of students who sort of file down and sit together because they don't have anybody there watching. What if you were that person? I have actually seen a mentee come down from the stage and crane their neck to look to see if the mentor really showed up. And in one instance, I saw her face brighten and just explode when she saw the mentor in the audience. That mentor became, at that moment, the most significant person in her life. And what a vote of confidence for that child. She has, by the way, gone on to be in high school choir and participates at all levels in musical things. And so you want to be that person that shows up. So many children, broken promises, a mom or a dad that maybe doesn't live in the home who calls and says, I'll be at your concert tomorrow night. And then don't you know, halfway through the concert, the child realizes dad or mom isn't there. And if you are, you're going to take the edge off that hurt for them, and they won't forget it. If I were an American Express commercial right now, I would say that's the thing that's priceless. You showing up is priceless. Okay, some other activities, just again to run through. We have at the Brookings Public Library a whole section. They've agreed to monitor our checkout system for us. We have books on boundaries. We have books on love languages for children. We have 3 different booklets for you to check out that have activity lists in them. And we have this entire handout at the back of the mentor booklet for you. So use those lists in the appendices. Use those lists at the library. It's not dorky to refer to a list for an activity. It's simply resourceful, and I encourage you to do that. Use the high school. Don't forget that memo. You want these kids to be contributors. Go to brookingssd.com. They have an events tab, and you can find free events. I would say 2 weekends out of 4. There are free events listed there on the brookingssd.com website. Our website, always posting our group activities. In fact, we're going picnicking tomorrow, and it's on our website. Anybody that's a mentor should be checking the activities page. I think it's called the Mentor Corner on our website to find out what our activities are. We give you coupons to go to places to eat and that kind of thing as a program. And if you're running short on those, you need to let me know, and I'll see what I can do about finding you some more. Stay away from too many video games and internet stuff. We've talked about that. Go conservative on movie ratings, but once in a while it's fun to watch a great movie. You know, some of the nature movies and the goal-oriented movies. I think of October Sky. What a fabulous movie for a young boy to watch. Those kinds of things. Summer of the Monkeys was also very good. By the way, while I'm talking about movies, I want to mention to you a very good movie for you to watch as a mentor, not with your kiddo necessarily, but by yourself. The Pacifier is a fabulous movie on watching someone demonstrate the role of an effective mentor. He knows when to move in with effective questions. He knows when to back off. He exhibits a great amount of respect for the teenagers for whom he's caring. It's just a wonderful real-life example, if you will, fictional, but real-life example of what mentoring looks like, and it actually is a really gratifying story to watch. Okay, I was asked the question, and I was asked to address this issue. What if your mentee only wants to do stuff that costs a lot of money? Our teenage girls want to go get their nails done. Well, you know, I don't know about you, but my budget can't even sustain that on a regular basis. And I want to tell you that as a mentor, one of the assets that you need to build into your mentee's life is this ability to find things to do that don't cost money. So, see that not as a problem. See it as an opportunity. This is an opportunity for me to work with my mentee on something that's really important that they need to know as they go into adulthood, is how to be resourceful without spending a lot of money. So here are some of the assets that can come out of that conversation. A, you all should have a budget. I don't know if it's $2 a week or whatever it is, but agree that, you know, it's sort of beyond the testing stage of your relationship. This is the money that we can spend a month, or this is the money that we can spend a week on our dates, and stay within that budget. That's an asset you need to teach them. Valuing relationship over spending money. This is so hard in our culture. Our culture, we tend to substitute getting things, getting gifts for people, or doing things, buying things for relationship. And what they really need to know is that the substantive part of your thing is your relationship, not the money that you spend. The asset of boundaries and mutual respect. If a mentee says to you, I want to get my nails done, and you say, wow, that's a great idea. How do you plan on getting that done? And they say, well, you're going to pay for it. You can say, you know, I have to share with you that that's not a very effective way to communicate that desire to me. Can you think of another way to say that? See, you're helping them think through boundaries. They have violated a boundary in your life by being demanding, and so you can help them recognize that. Maybe there's a better tone of voice that they can use, or maybe what you can do is do something that might make a little money. Have a lemonade stand and say, you know what, if we make X percentage of a nail job on selling lemonade, maybe you can go get your nails done. Let's think that way. So think solutions. Don't think of it as a problem. Another asset you give them through that exercise is you lay down the ground rules and you explain why they matter. As they go into adult relationships, they're going to be in relationships where there are rules, and they need to know that they need to adhere to those. This all may be new to your mentee. Your mentee may come, doesn't necessarily come from, may come from a home that has no rules. That's a scary thought to you and me, but there are kids out there that are just growing up in homes where there are no boundaries, no rules, no expectations. And so by instilling some of those into their life, you're teaching them how to function as adults. As much as I hate to say it, this relationship is pretty one-sided. You are the one to come up with the initiative on these things. And that's hard for our culture because we live in a culture that's marked by this sense of entitlement. I'm entitled to a thank you. I'm entitled to some feedback. I'm entitled to two-way relationships. You know, if we get in a conversation with somebody and it's all one-sided, we feel a little violated. We expect people to come back and give us something back. That's the way our culture functions, but that's not the way the mentor-mentee relationship functions. That child's not in a position to give back to you in many cases. So you go in with the mentality, this is my opportunity just to be a giver. And you know, in the long run, that benefits us as well, because there are circumstances in life that really require that of us.